Okay, so this is 2.1, counting how to count sig figs, which stands for significant figures. So when you're doing math in chem, you're going to want to do everything with sig figs, and there's three main rules to remember. One is that leading zeros never count. Two is that trapped zeros always count. And three is that ending zeros count if it's a decimal. Okay, and so we're just gonna go through a few examples. Basically, sig figs is just how many figures do you have. So if we do 6.07 times 10 to the negative 15th, the nice thing about scientific notation is that it already gives you the amount of sig figs. You just have to count how many it gives you. So 1, 2, 3. This has 3 sig figs. Whereas if we were given 0.003840, if we look on our chart here, leading zeros never count. So none of these are going to count. And then ending zeros count if it's a decimal. And this is a decimal. If there's a decimal anywhere in the number, the ending zeros count. So we just count up how many numbers we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. This has 4 sig figs. If we're given 17.00, and we ask ourselves, do these zeros count? Ending zeros count if there's a decimal. There is a decimal, so this also has 4 sig figs. And then another example is another scientific notation. If we just have 8 times 10 to the 8th, this is just 1 sig fig because it's just 8, because the rest of these are going to be trailing zeros without a decimal. That's what scientific notation is. Now to go through just a few more, if we were given 463.8052 and we're asked how many sig figs is that, well, we look here and trapped zeros always count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 sig figs. Do another one. If we're just given 300 written like that, that is just 1 sig fig because ending zeros only count if there is a decimal, and there's no decimal in this number, so that is just 1 sig fig. Whereas if we're given 301, that is 3 sig figs because trapped zeros always count. Or if we're given 300 with a decimal after it, this is also 3 sig figs. Because of that decimal, it makes the ending zeros count. So anytime there's a decimal, ending zeros count. So 300 decimal is 3 sig figs. And that's it.